Hello everyone, wherever you're watching in the world, good morning, good evening, good night or good afternoon. Not quite in the order I was thinking of, but hey ho, it worked out nevertheless. Hello and welcome back to the restarted attempt of the, it's not the 24 hours of Spa, we're now at the normal Spa only for about 55, 60-ish minutes, or the equivalent of a couple of laps, and that was a savage lunge from Playduchy on the inside of 2-8 on an outlap on the soft compounder tyres. If you haven't noticed already, it's been raining here at Spa. You have missed half of the race, half the qualifying session, sorry, because I wanted to check if the pit lane exit was glitched. Thankfully at this circuit it's not glitched, but at the 24-hour layout it is. You can see Dan Schneider actually leaving the pit lane on an outlap this time round. So we can go racing here at Spa and it will not get cancelled. Nothing will cancel the Spa events. Round number 5 of the Gavra Racing GT7 League. I haven't actually introduced myself. Welcome everyone, my name's X90G and you join me once again for a rollercoaster of emotions at another, what's going to be a really exciting race. I can already see this one playing out well. There's going to be carnage, there's going to be action, and that's what we want to see at a race like Spa. Piero goes provisional pole position on a set of the intermediate tyres, the green striped tyre, but we have a mix of tyre compounds on the circuit at the minute. Usually it's a mix between soft and medium, but now it's a mix between the soft and the intermediate. A few drivers on the inters, some left on the soft. We've got Finn out on the soft as well. His new teammate, FGR All-Star, a 1980. So Finn going through teammates like Max Verstappen, it seems. He's had Albon, he's had Gasly, and now he's got Sergio Perez, it seems. But we'll just have to wait and see which of those teammates can put the biggest test to Finn. I done the spoiler alerts in the restart, but not in the previous stream, sorry, but not in this restarted attempt. So spoiler alert for those who haven't watched any of the previous races here at Gavra Racing. Last week's race at Trial Mountain, I definitely recommend you go check that out, because if you haven't, I'm going to spoil it and you're also missing out on lots of action. Let's put it this way: at one stage of the race, after lap 1, there were 7 or 8 cars separated by about 2 seconds. That was how close the action was. I almost lost my voice that day, and speaking of, I haven't got myself a refreshment. So you know what? Let's go into my secret stash of cans, non-alcoholic, because we're not going to drink on the job. We're going to pull out a nice can of Fanta. Other drinks are available, just in case we get a sponsorship from someone else. And, well, cheers. That went in my eye. That was not great, but anyway, I've gotten a refreshment. You guys are now refreshed. Let's get into the qualifying session. So we're 12 minutes into the usual 20 we usually have. Unfortunately, the race was delayed due to the glitch, so we are running a little bit behind schedule, but we should finish still. Well, we're not going to cut the race because we're a little bit late. Cameron Kaboom on the soft compound tyres goes provisional pole position with a 2 minute 17.1. It's about 1 second off the times you would do on the mediums on a bone dry circuit. For those who are unfamiliar with GT7 and the new the rain and the dynamic weather feature, look in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. Next to the tyres there is a blue bar that indicates the amount of standing water and grip on the circuits. The more online you are, the lower down that bar will be, essentially, because of the way, you know, water works. As you can see, Dutchy in the run up to Eau Rouge and Radion, there is little to no standing water on the circuit, but as soon as he puts his wheels on the curb, it shoots back up and you can see the spray kicking off the curb as the standing water still lies off the racing line. Piero in and out of the pits from the mediums onto a set of intermediates. ND up into 5th place with some wet running. I think he'll probably be hoping that it rains a little bit more. He looks like he's got some really good pace in wet weather conditions. And well, it's the highest he's been all season in a qualifying session. Your race winner from Trial Mountain, Adam Grin, currently 20 seconds off provisional pole position, but hasn't done a representative lap time on the soft compound tyres yet. He's just starting one now, making his way to the top of Eau Rouge and Radion. Let's have a look though to see if we can catch anyone completing their laps. Finn goes to the new provisional pole slot by 6/10 with a 16.5, and unfortunately, because we're at the normal layout as opposed to the 24-hour layout I had planned, turn 1 is now turn 1 and not Erosion Radion, although on the 24-hour layout the lap time doesn't start before Erosion Radion, it starts before turn 1, which is a little bit weird. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Pit lane's glitched anyway, so we're not going to be racing at that circuit. We're racing at this circuit. All-Star on his debut will be looking to try and go from 11th to 1st, and indeed he does. You know, I said that before he done it because I knew he would. I knew he would, and that's not because I'm a genius. And, well, my reasoning behind it is all the times that are going to be set in should go to the top 3. As the standing water clears, the rain has stopped. Who's next to the line? It's Cameron Kaboom. Like I said, he goes towards the top. So it's a 16.1 on a set of the soft compound tyres, but they are starting to wear quite a bit after only a couple of laps in qualifying. Dutchy's next up to the line. Unfortunately, we're going to have to block the screen to give the 5-minute warning, but it's going to go up into 3rd place, 2/10 off provisional pole position now. That's interesting. Play Dutchy only 3rd as things stand. We've got Tim on the lap as well. He's behind a train of tyre, Toussaint, and can't see who that is in front. I think it's Piero. Yes, that is Piero in front of him. Apologies for the fast flickering of the camera movement. Piero making his way through the final corner up to the line on an outlap. What about Toussaint around the final corner up to the line? It's going to be a 2-minute 16.7. What about Adam Grin into the pits for himself from a set of the soft compound tyres? Interesting, he hasn't set a lap time yet. With only 5 minutes left to go in qualifying, he's going to cut himself close. Tiger Assassin as well, he's coming around the final corner. He's got TCR Legion in front of him on the circuit, Bon Evil in front of him in the qualifying session, and behind him on track. Where's it for Tiger? It's a 17.7, goes up into 6th behind his teammate. Where's Bon Evil going to filter? From 11th, it's only 11th on a set of the soft compound tyres. That might have been an outlap or a cool down lap to get the soft tyres warmed up for a couple more laps. There's still a little bit of standing water on the circuit, predominantly off of the racing line and onto the curbs. You can see the curbs, or the spray flickering or spraying off the curb down at Erosion Radion. Legion pulls out of the way, pulls over. So lets Tiger Assassin go through and complete his flying lap as Dan Schneider now goes up into 2nd place, the leading Dutchman in qualifying. Can All-Star, he's going purple through the middle sector, up to the line. Can he be into the 2-minute 15s? You bet he can. It's a 15.1, and he's a second clear of Dan Schneider, and on his debut, no less, he is absolutely on fire. It looks like he's the Sergio Perez in the equation, in the Red Bull equation, as none of Finn's previous teammates, I don't think, have beaten him on circuits so far this season. Finn's finished 2nd in the Nürburgring, 5th, I think, in Catalonia. Was it 5th? 5th or 6th in Catalonia. 3rd in both Lago Maggiore and Trial Mountain. So it's been a solid start for Finn. He sits 2nd in the championship, only behind current championship leader Toussaint, who missed out on Trial Mountain after missing that race, and he only has now a 6 points advantage ahead of Finn. Dutchy up into 2nd place behind FGR All-Star. Have we found our new saving grace to stop Dutchy from winning races in the league? Having said that though, if All-Star is going to start joining and winning races, then we're going to have ourselves a new Dutchy on our hands, and that's not exactly what we want to see. So Toussaint though goes up into 2nd place ahead of Play Dutchy, with Piero in front of him on track up into 7th place. We'll be getting a nice tow down the start finish straight. But yeah, he's only 3/10 quicker than Toussaint All-Star. 3/10 might seem a little bit like a margin, but it's honestly not, especially in these changeable conditions where we've got drivers improving left, right and centre. Tiger up into 3rd place. Bon Evil from 11th. Where can he go? He goes up into 3rd place. We've still got Adam Grin, who hasn't set a lap time yet. Up to the line. It's going to be a 2-minute 36, but he needs to get a wriggle on and set a representative lap time, otherwise he's going to be starting from the back of the grid after winning last week's race in Trial Mountain. Someone's going up to the line. It was Dan Schneider who improved to a 15.1, 4,700 slower than FGR All-Star. It looks like a lot of these drivers will be starting a couple of their final laps with only a couple, or with only a minute left to go, FGR All-Star rounds the final corner, but I don't think he's going to improve. He's not improving on this time, but I don't think we're going to see many others improving, because as the track's got quicker with the, as it's got quicker, just due to the nature of the track rubbering in and the standing water clearing, the soft compound tyres have just worn to the point where I think they can't go that much quicker. Cameron Kaboom 4/10 off his personal best going in towards turn 1. Finn does improve on his personal best, goes only in 8th place with a 2 minutes 16.3, and it doesn't look like he's going to be set to improve. Why is the camera angle stuck on the pit lane entrance? Oh, that's because that's because he's there. That's because he's bailed out of his lap. I thought he was glitched for a second, but that is it. We've hit the 20-minute mark. Last lap. I wish I had the keyboard. I wish the keyboard was compatible on this game. That would make things a lot easier. But Tim is purple. Adam Green is going purple. This needs to be a good lap from him because he's currently in 12th place. He's improving by 18 seconds. Let's try and find drivers who have come across the line already. Toussaint improves to 15.2, a 10th off pole position, and will start 3rd place at best. What about his teammate Tiger Assassin? 5th place on the circuit, 5th place in the championship. Currently with 54 points and only 25 off of 2nd place Finn. From 5th place on the grid doesn't improve. Play Dutchy currently in 6th place, but he's also on a lap. What about Darren Schneider and Bon Evil? Bon Evil goes up into 3rd, ahead of Toussaint, who starts in now 4th, ahead of his teammate Tiger in 5th. Tim goes up into 5th place. Look at the margins. Only a 10th separating the top 5 in a track like Spa. That is really, really close. A track that's so long, with lots of margins for error. Dan Schneider, he will start no higher than 2nd place, but a really good showing from him in only his 2nd GT7 race. FGR All-Star, though, on his debut, could see himself start this race on pole position. He rounds the final corner for the final time in qualifying. I don't think he's going to improve in his personal best. No, he's not, but could start on pole position. We've still got Play Dutchy, Cameron Kaboom, fast drivers to set their lap times. Play Dutchy doesn't look like he can improve on this 15.8, but we'll keep an eye. Another eye on Cameron Kaboom, who rounds the final corner with 2 minutes 13 into the lap. He's not going to improve. The wear on the soft tyres just getting to him at the end. The rain kind of dried up a little bit too late to get the maximum out of the soft compound tyres. Play Dutchy, though, being in the Porsche, a car that naturally conserves its tyre wear, up to the line. Can he improve from 7th place on the grid? Goes up into 6th place, but it's only 6th place for a 4-time consecutive GT Sport champion, meaning it's going to be FGR All-Star on his debut to start this race on pole position. 400th clear of Dan Schneider, who will join him alongside on the front row of the grid. Legion and who's this? Is it Toussaint? Driving round the lap still. Not on a lap. We've got someone who, I think that's Piero, who's ploughed it into the side of the barrier. But let's find him. It's this man in this car who will start this race on pole position. Play Dutchy needs a wee, so I guess it would be a bit carnage to start without him. If we start without Play Dutchy, it would be good. It would be quite good indeed. But let's get a good shot of all the cars. Where's Darren Schneider? He seems to be the one at the front of the train. There we go. This is the grid it was not in this order specifically, but these are the cars that will be challenging for the top step of the podium tonight. Will it be FGR All-Star to break the pole position curse? We'll have to wait and see. I'm building up a lot of drama, a lot of tension. There's about to be a massive accident. No, there's not. Never mind. It's just him beautifully drifting backwards into the pit lane, and there's Piero doing his best to represent his French hero Romain Grosjean in towards turn 1. Looks like there's a bit of an incident. We're all good now, so that means we can start the race. Good luck, everyone. Have a good race. Let's have a clean one. And now I need to get my stats ready for the start of this race. Bit of drama, bit of action music to get this one going. Ladies and gentlemen, just like in quali, the race will start in the heavy wet conditions. 7 kilometres makes up the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, your host for round number 5 of the GT7 Championship. How many corners are at this circuit? I've absolutely no idea, but it's 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go. And FGR All-Star leads the field away in these very treacherous conditions down towards turn 1. Dan Schneider on the outside. Someone's ploughing their way into the inside. It's Cameron Kaboom in the Porsche. He is absolutely Romain Grosjean on that one. I think that's Dan Schneider who got caught out in that. He's ran all the way wide on the exit of turn 1 to try and do his best to avoid it, but it is currently Bonnie Evil in second place, with Tiger going wheel to wheel with Cameron Kaboom in the TCR Legion, up into second place. Someone is Sergio Perez into the barrier, kind of like the W Series as well. It is Cameron Kaboom, now drops down into 12th place towards the back of the grid, but it is All-Star who still leads the way from Bonnie Evil and Tiger are your top 3. Here goes Tim trying to go for a move on Legion. Piero trying to get involved in this action as well. They're 3 wide behind, with ND on the inside of 2 St. Dutchy trying to go round the outside of the 2 of them. Is Legion and Tim now going side by side through turn 5. Cameron Kaboom goes to corner cutting to make his way through the upper section of the circuit, drops down to the back of the grid, runs wide onto the gravel on the curb. Now is demoted to last place. Tiger running very deep and wide into the right 180-degree right-hander before No Name. I believe it is turn 8. I'm not too sure, but I'll get familiar with the circuit as we go along into the race. Tim and Piero with a 5-10 penalty, both synchronised drifting on the exit of No Name. Turn 9 at the circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps. Someone's falling a little bit down the grid. I think that was Toussaint. He's now down into 8th place, with Dan Schneider going for a move on the inside of ND, who's been forced onto the AstroTurf. Lucky not to get washed away by the nature of the AstroTurf on this game. But your championship leader down into 8th place after a tricky, treacherous start to this race. Piero and Tim now going door to door as they make their way through the middle sector, and Piero just slots in behind the Mercedes for now. Legion trying to get a little bit racy on the inside of the McLaren as they make their way through the final sector. The 2 drivers in front will be slowing down. Was there a little bit of a nudge from Toussaint? I think that's Piero off the circuit. He's gone wide onto the gravel. Whether there was contact or not, I'm not too sure. Didn't quite get the best camera angle, but it's now the 2 Mercedes going side by side, the BWT versus the BCMR car. Which one will come out on top as they go side by side, door to door, through turn 16 and 17. I can't remember the corners by their names, but it will come to me throughout the course of the race. Meanwhile, in front of them there's TCR Legion and Atom Green going wheel to wheel, door to door. They're 2 by 2. You can just about see in the background of the spray. 3 wide as Cameron Kaboom launches one to the inside of Dan Schneider. Toussaint's drifting and he's been spun around. Toussaint, your championship leader, is facing backwards at the bus stop chicane. Needs to be careful when rejoining. Tiger Assassin has been spun round as well. It's a disaster for Team BCMR, who are down in 10th and 12th place. Someone is into the pits. I'm not too sure who that is. FGR All-Star down towards 5th place as Bonnie leads the way, with Play Dutchy up into 2nd place with a 5-10 penalty. The rain has really brought carnage and drama to the start of this race. Legion pushing Dutch as they make their way up in towards turn 2 and 3. Rouge and Gradion for the 2nd time in this race. 24 laps ahead of us at a treacherous race at Spa. Tiger and Toussaint, they've got some work to do now after being involved in separate incidents, whether it was a spin or contact. I didn't quite see what happened to Tiger at the exit of the bus stop chicane, but it looked like there was contact with Toussaint on the entrance to the bus stop chicane. You can see on Bon Evil's weather radar the rain is clearing as Dutchy has been demoted a couple of positions. He's now down to 5th place, going side by side with FGR All-Star. Cameron Kaboom looking to try and go down the inside of the Dutchman as well after getting ahead of the other Dutch driver, Dan Schneider, who's now down to 8th, 7th place after starting this race in 2nd. Meanwhile, the grid is still fairly close together as Cameron on the inside of Play Dutchy still as they make their way through the downhill right-hander of turn 8, a really tricky corner to try and nail your braking zones, but going into No Name. It's Dutchy now with the inside line, leaves the Porsche enough room on the outside to try and go for it, take a nice wide line. As here goes the other Dutchman of Dan Schneider trying to go down the inside of Cameron Kaboom, who's lost 2 positions in 2 corners. Cameron Kaboom really seems to be everywhere at this circuit. He's either at the front or at the back, and now he's found himself back in the middle, wheel to wheel with the pink BWT Mercedes AMG GT3. Now 2 Dutch drivers consolidate the positions of 5th and 6th in this race, but I'm sure they will change by the end of the lap. The carnage has allowed Bon Evil to claim a 3.5 second advantage over TCR Legion, whose best finish this season is definitely not a top 3 finish. Meanwhile, FTR All-Star will be slowing down as well as Play Dutch to serve a play, survive 10th penalty. And Dan Schneider, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get carnage at the bus stop chicane with the overspeed from ND and Cameron Kaboom. Let's ride on board with the Porsche. Is he going to be sensible and sit back? Well, he does for now. He's not going to send one through turn 17. We're going to ride on board with Play Dutch. We're going to look from the rear wing camera angle to see if the Porsche will send one on the inside. Not on this occasion. Gets a little bit out of shape. Breaks later than the Dutchman, and that's TCR Legion into the pits, interestingly, off of the intermediate tyres. Now, is he going onto a set of slicks this early on in the race? It's a big gamble for someone who is in a comfortable third place, promotes everyone up an extra position. But what tyres is he going onto? I can't think of it being anything other than the intermediates. We're at the cut-off point between the Inter and the slick, as Dan Schneider and ND now go wheel to wheel up the hill in towards their Rouge and Radion in the wet conditions. ND backs out of it. He is smart and will wait for the slipstream. The Nissan GTR has got some serious straight line speed and will be gaining on the back of the BWT Mercedes. We ride on board with Play Dutchy now as he's hunting down the Mercedes of FGR All-Star in front. We're going to quickly go down to ND. As you can see, the two cars in front. Cameron Kaboom trying to go for a move on Play Dutchy but couldn't quite find a way through. Dan Schneider's gone a little bit deep in towards the end of the Kemmel Straight. Turn number 5, which leads into 6 and 7. But ND can't quite find a way through. Dan Schneider might have ran a little bit wide as well. The Mercedes, a naturally understeery car. But maybe just trying to go a little bit too quickly through some of the corners. Meanwhile, Tim is not matching Bon Evil. Bon Evil's starting to pull away in the intermediate conditions. TCR Legion has gone onto the racing medium tyres, but I don't think it's ready unless he can put in an AI performance and nail the racing line, because as soon as he dips a wheel off of the racing line, he will find himself in the mud and in the barrier. He is gaining on the race leader though. Look at the gap. 30 seconds, 29 seconds, so the gap is coming down, but look at the blue bar. He needs to keep it below the first level, because if it gets into level 2, then he will find himself aquaplaning all over the place. But we'll keep an eye on his progress throughout the race. Meanwhile, Cameron Kaboom with a 5/10 penalty. Everyone else around him had a 5/10 penalty on the lap before. Meanwhile, Tim getting all out of shape on the exit of, I believe it's Stavelot, but I'm not too sure. They're now going temporarily 3 wide with FGR All-Star up into second place. Now Play Dutchy following him through. Tim will find himself back in this eventually, because there is still a little bit of a straight to go before they find themselves at the bus stop chicane. A Mercedes sandwiched, well, it's a Mercedes sandwich with a layer of Porsche in the middle. Bon Evil's into the pits, from your race leader into the pits off of the intermediate tyres. A few drivers following them in. FGR All-Star, Play Dutch as well, coming into the pits. Finn stays out, ND staying out as well on a set of the intermediate tyres. Tim, Atom Grim is out there on a set of the intermediate tyres. So 3 drivers have stayed out on a set of the green striped intermediate tyres. What tyre do these drivers go on to? Piero also into the pits from the soft compound tyre, and he set the fastest lap of the race so far. He pitted the lap before. Could he find himself in the lead of the race? Here goes Bon Evil exiting the pit lane now. Bon Evil rounding turn number 1. It's going to be a slow start for the drivers heading out of the pit lane on a cold set of tyres. Where's Piero? Where's Bon Evil? Remember Bon Evil's lead of about 5 seconds to Tim. Well, look at Piero. He was somewhere in the midfield towards the back of the grid, if I have to say so, if I have to be perfectly honest. But that 5-second gap has now come down to 0.8 of a second. But now it's about keeping all 4 tyres on the racing line. We're going to be at that phase in the race where it's going to be a little bit risky going for a move offline, because you dip a wheel onto the wet patches and you'll find yourself aquaplaning. Look at that gap that these guys are closing on the race leaders. I think staying out might have been a little bit of a mistake, but we do have some different tyre compounds being fitted to these GT3 cars. Bon Evil on mediums, Piero on softs. Mediums for Legion, who's onto the gravel and he's spun round backwards and he's disappeared. I think he's backed out. That could be the first retirement from the race. In fact, it is. Finn gets ahead of MD, and there you have it. Legion is the first victim from this race. We've got someone facing backwards. It's Toussaint on the soft compound tyres. He's dipped a wheel onto the wet patch and he's facing backwards at the corner before No Name. Turn number 8. He rejoins the circuit just behind his teammate. But a race that's gone from bad to worse. He's now 40 seconds behind the race leader, about 20 behind the net race leaders when everyone makes their pit stop. But Antigra Assassin's up as well. It's a disaster for Team BCMR. Tiger's now got damages. He's done a full 360. This race, well, it's not going to finish as you see it here, ladies and gentlemen, because these drivers are driving on slicks on a wet track. And that is the risk that you have to pay. Here goes Finn. He's caught up to Tim on the intermediate tyres, but I've got a feeling that these guys might be into the pits at the end of this lap. There is no grip on the circuit right now, but it is still wet. Finn stays out for another lap. Oh, he's on the softs. I thought he was in intermediates. Where has this come from? Drivers are pitting sooner than I thought. It was only Tim and ND who came into the pits, who stayed out for the extra 2 laps. Finn, Legion and Piero were the 3 drivers to make the first switch onto the slick tyre. Everyone else pitted the lap after. Now Tim and ND have pitted 2 laps after the first drivers are pit. But look at the lead that Finn has given himself by pitting at the perfect time. He was absolutely hit the nail on the head with the hammer and has got himself a 14-second lead on lap 5. If you had a screenshot notification, that is why I did screenshot that, because this is amazing from Finn. Now, I commentated cursed him in Lago Maggiore in season 2, I think it was, when he was winning. I said he hasn't got his first win, and then he span seconds later. But to say it again, and I don't mean to curse the guy, but Finn has never stood on the top step of the podium in the Gavra Racing League race on GT Sport or GT7. Is this redemption day at the circuit of Francorchamps? It could be a day to forget for Toussaint and Tiger Assassin, currently in 10th and 11th place after fitting the soft compound tyres and making mistakes on the wet patches of the circuit. And it's going to be, well, it's going to be a challenge for all 12 drivers left, well, 11 drivers left in the race. You can hear the tyres screeching from the Porsche of Cameron Kaboom, as he's got Tim now, putting him under a significant amount of pressure. But the championship will now definitely be a little bit different to what it was before this race. If it was to stay as it is, Finn, your new race leader, and once again his teammate FGR All-Star living up to the pole position curse of not being in a podium position after starting the race on the first row of the grid. We're only 5 laps in. I'm going to need another refreshment. Tim has got past Cameron Kaboom and up into 6th place. Oh, I've just spilled Fanta all over my shirt. I got too excited when going for a drink. I haven't actually done an audio test. The guys in the chat, is the audio working? Please let me know. Please let. Should be working. I haven't changed anything from the last stream. That looked like someone was late. No, it's not. It's just FPO All-Star. Getting the breaking point for the bus stop chicane. Someone who has missed the bus stop chicane is Cameron Kaboom. The audio is perfect. That's what you love to hear. Does he rejoin the track safely? Yes, he does. But a mistake from Cameron Kaboom down at the bus stop chicane. Looked like he dipped a wheel onto the curb, which still had a lot of standing water left on the exit of the corner, and then just aquaplaned off to the exit of the bus stop chicane. But it is a good running from Finn so far. Lap 6 of 24. He's only got to do what he's done 4 more times, and he will finish with a gold medal around his neck and a trophy in his hands. FGR All-Star was under pressure from Play Dutchie, but it looks like he's starting to gap the Dutchman. Welcome, Urban Fire. You have just missed everything. You have actually missed everything. I think this is the perfect image to put you on, to tell you what you've missed. Basically, it was raining. Now it's not raining, and it's been carnage, but in a good carnage. We've had spins. We have had quite a few collisions. I think the stewards might be a little bit busy at the end of this race, because lap 1 and lap 2 certainly had a bit of contact. I think lap 3, I think Toussaint's spin at the bus stop was caused by contact, possibly Tigers as well. Didn't quite see what happened to those two guys. Unfortunately, unlike GT Sport, we don't have a replay feature, so we can't go back and check the live footage, so we just have to interpret what happened. But I reckon at those 2 points for those two, I think there must have been contact, unless Tiger lit up the Riz on the exit of the corner, but then later span on the exit of No Name. As Pierre is now setting purple sectors, as he's starting to gain on Bon Evil. The gap out in front, 15 seconds. Piero 16 seconds behind the race leader. And, well, for Tiger Assassin, he's 46 seconds behind Finn, who's going to start lap number 7. And you can see the track map in the top right, all 11 drivers on the left-hand side of the circuit, or the southern side of the circuit, depending on which way you look at it, whether you tilt your head 90 degrees and make turn 1 kind of more facing the west. I don't know which way the circuit faces facing north. I can only assume it is how it looks in the top right. I can only assume turn 1, or the one out towards turn 1, is facing north, otherwise I don't know. Where's the sun? It's still very cloudy. We want sunshine. We don't like a dull race. Doesn't look good on the in the photos, but it looks like the lead out in front has come down by a couple of tenths of a second, not too much, as Born Evil stuff started to get into a little bit of a groove. Tim gaining on the back of Play Dutchy, but is on the soft compound tyres, has set the fastest lap of the race. So we do have a difference in tyres for these guys, a mix between softs and the mediums, so I actually do not know who could win this race by the end of it. It's going to be very close no matter what, I think. I think we are in for 27 laps of action. We've had 7 laps and 7 laps of action. Who knows what the strategy is going to be, because like the F1 rules, it has rained, so drivers do not need to use the mandatory 2 different tyre compounds, because technically they've already used 2 different tyre compounds. I did say that in the rules as well. They have used intermediates and softs or mediums. Some opted for the wets in qualifying, I believe, but obviously that was qualifying and this is the race. But just like F1, drivers do not need to use the 2 different tyre compounds if there is the effect of rain. Darren Schneider catching up to the back of ND whilst being caught himself by Cameron Kaboom, Toussaint and Tiger Assassin. Looks like they are actually gaining on the leaders, or at least matching the pace of the leaders. They'd hope they'd be gaining, so that they are not losing time in this race. There is still plenty of opportunities for drama and action, as you can see by the grip meter in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. Currently there is no more standing water in the run down towards turn 1, but if we skip onto a couple of drivers, look, there's water on the outside of the run into the bus stop chicane. That could that will affect the braking performance, and I think Born Evil was found out the hard way. Looked like he went a little bit deep in towards the bus stop and now could be under a lot of pressure from Piera behind. We've got Play Dutchy gaining onto the back of All-Star whilst being caught by the flying fin of Atom Grin. I love that saying. I'm going to use that more often. As a nice, it flows off the tongue as Dan Schneider has flown himself past ND, now up into 7th place after starting on the front row of the grid behind the driver in 4th place, FGR All-Star, making his Gavra Racing GT7 debut tonight. Put his Mercedes on pole position, but is still living up to the pole position curse of not being in a podium position. However, he still has 3 times as many laps as we have already done to make it up. We're on lap 8 of 24. We've still got plenty of opportunities left to go, 27 laps, including the one we're on now. Toussaint 3 seconds behind Cameron Kaboom, and gaining Cameron Kaboom 1.3 seconds behind ND, who's going to do his best to try and stick with Dan Schneider. A beautiful camera shot of the cars making their way through turn 8. I think it begins with a B. Is it Bruxelles? I think it's something like Bruxelles. My knowledge of Spa is limited, but it will get to me, as Play Dutchy on the medium compound tyres is being caught by Tim on the red striped soft compound tyre in this race. We're on lap 8, 3 tenths separating the drivers in 5th and 6th position, as Tim, with the fastest lap of the race, will be getting an extra point at the end if he can keep it, but I think the track conditions will get better, meaning the lap times will only get quicker. Tim a lot more later on their brakes on the soft compound tyres as they make their way through turns 14 and 15. I know Stavelot's a corner, but if you guys in the chat could help me know which corner is Stavelot. I think it's one in the final sector, as Tim in the final sector, now it's not holding anything back, goes down the inside at turn 16, gets his way up into 5th place. Dutch is going to try and fight this back maybe to the inside at the bus stop, but thinks better of it, tucks in behind the Mercedes and would maybe try and use his slipstream to try and save some fuel. As you can see, he's already got more fuel than the Mercedes in front. The Porsche really nice and kind on its tyres and fuel. Another fastest lap, personal best from the Flying Finn, your race winner from Trial Mountain. Meanwhile, Piero still sticking with Bon Evil, 1.1 seconds, as the gap out in front is 14 seconds. Kind of encouraging, but kind of not when you take into consideration the difference in tyres. Finn on the medium, on the softs, Bon Evil on the mediums, although Finn has done quite a few laps on the softs, and those softs are starting to get a little bit worn in this race after doing he pitted on the end of lap 3, so he's already done 6 laps on those tyres, and it's not a tyre we see often. Actually, no, it's a tyre we do see often. Sometimes we see drivers doing medium, soft, soft. Some do a medium, medium, soft. The two traditional strategies that get put into play. Looks like Toussaint's pulling away from his teammate Tiger Assassin, who could be struggling a little bit in this race, although is going quicker than the race leader. The gap is still 46 seconds between him and Finn, so he is still maintaining the same pace with the race leader. And welcome to everyone who's started tuning into this race at Francorchamps, round number 5 of the GT7 League at Gavra Racing. You have missed a lot of action, by the way, just making you aware of that, but you're not going to miss some action here as Tim now trying to get himself ahead of the pole sitter, making his debut tonight, and the Mercedes on the Mercedes. There's a little bit of contact between the two as Tim gets his way down the inside in towards turn 12 and 13, where Giovinazzi had his incident and collected George Russell in 2019. I think it was 2019, or was that 2020? Could have been 2020, I think. I can't remember. It was only 2 years ago, but you know, time just doesn't exist anymore with everything. It's already Friday. It only feels like yesterday I was saying hello everyone and welcome back to the GT7 League when you join us for Trial Mountain Round 4. That was a week ago at the time of recording. But we've got a nice three-way battle now for 4th place between these three drivers. 3 really quick, competitive drivers. I mean, this All-Star's done 9 laps in his Gavra Racing history, which his Gavra Racing career about to complete his 9th, actually start his 10th, and I can already consider him being up there with one of the quickest. Having said that, though, I can't list everyone as being one of the quickest, because I could name 99% of the group as being one of the quickest. ND is not going to be one of the quickest when he's serving his 5/10 penalty down in the run in the through Blanchimont. The guys in the chat, you still haven't let me know, where is Stavelot? Is it turn 15? The right-hander in the final sector? I'll let you know when someone gets to it, but I know Stavelot's a corner, but I don't know where it is. I think it is a corner at Spa, isn't it? Because you've got La Source is turn 1, Radio Eau Rouge. These drivers now making their way down the Kemmel Straight. Tim still ahead of All-Star by the end of it. I think this is Bruxelles. I could be saying that wrong, but I think it is something like that. Turn 8. You can see all 3 drivers snaking their way down the hill. This circuit with a lot of elevation change. Spa-Francorchamps being one of the greatest circuits for elevation change. A total elevation change of... I can't find the stat. I had the stat and now I've lost the stat. But it is a lot. It's quite a bit when you consider the hill from Eau Rouge and Radio. What goes up must come back down, and what looks like it's come down is the gap out in front. 12 seconds. What's happened to Finn? He's lost 2 seconds on that lap to Bon Evil. You can tell it's an individual mistake because Tiger's now 44 seconds behind the race leader. Bon Evil down 12 seconds, so it is not. Bon Evil going quick. What's happened here with ND? He's ran wide through Pouan, and now here goes Toussaint now down the inside of Cameron. Kaboom, the Mercedes gaining 2 positions in 2 corners and up into 8th place. The championship leader on a charge after having been involved in 2 separate incidents. One caused by himself, the other, I didn't see the full picture. We didn't get the best camera angle of it, making their way through the bus stop chicane, where I think he might have had a tap from the rear, causing his Mercedes to spin. Now, I cannot quote you on that, but that is only what I can assume. It's very rare for a car to spin on the entry of the bus stop. It was raining, it was wet, but I think he might have been aided by a little bit of a tap. Obviously, I cannot be sure of that. Was that a mistake from Bon Evil? It looked like it was a mistake, as the Genesis getting a little bit tail happy on the exit of turn 1. Could be a little bit vulnerable to Piero behind, who's going to be gaining as they make their way up the hill. You can't even see the exit of the of Radion as they make their way now down the Kemmel Straight. I don't think the McLaren is going to be close enough to the Genesis to go for a move, but it is going to be gaining and gaining all the time with the slipstream, with the straight line speed up, with a mistake Bon Evil made, but it's not going to be close enough for a move. Nor will Play Dutchie be on All-Star, but has saved a lot of fuel by sitting behind the Mercedes, currently running a comfortable, I say a comfortable 6th place. He's in 6th place, 17 seconds behind the race leader. Usually Dutch is the one to be 17 seconds in the lead of the race. Stavelot is the last right-hander for the straight leading to the bus stop. I knew it. Thanks, Evan Fire. I knew it was turn 15. It was turn 15 or turn 14. It was one of the two right-handers in the final sector, but I didn't know which one it was. So the other ones, one of them's, oh, let's just call it turn 15, 14, Stavelot, which leads into Bronzemont. I know Bronzemont's the left hand. Oh, All-Stars ran onto the AstroTurf. I thought that was going to drag him right. If you see a car on the AstroTurf, assume the worst, because it can really suck you up and draw you wide. Drag you wide. Jag you wide. Really, I'm getting my words mixed up. Almost a Jaguar. Now All-Star being forced into a defensive manoeuvre as he went a little bit wide on the exit of turn 13. Through Stavelot they go, as Play Dutchie now tucked up closely behind the Mercedes. Is he going to stop saving fuel? He might not even be saving fuel. That just could be the way the Porsche drives. He now pulls alongside of the Mercedes. This could be a nice simple move, having had the inside line, and is now ahead of the Mercedes, but has ran a little bit wide. Did he go all four wheels over the curb and the white line? He's now going defensive in towards the bus stop because he's got All-Star closely behind him. Campus and Stavelot. Yeah, I knew it was Campus. Campus. I didn't know if Campus was this track or Zolder. I don't know why I was getting that confused, but I knew Campus was a corner name in Belgium, but I didn't want to say it on the stream because I don't want to embarrass myself. I didn't know if it was, because Campus must be turn 14 if turn 15 Stavelot. But I was thinking I thought initially that Campus was turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in Zolder. Meanwhile, All-Star and Dutch are now going side by side down the Kemmel Straight in towards Lacom. The German though with a 5/10 penalty for going over the curves and over the white lines through Rouge and Radion. I should have done my research before the race started rather than going through the asking you guys in the chat. You don't imagine if Crofty just went, yo Ted, hi, I need your help. We're at Spa, right? And I don't know the name of turn 11. Could you help me out here, buddy? Rather than Ted, can you bring us some action from the pit lane? We've got no one in the pit lane tonight because there is no action needed. We're not going to have the mechanics fake a pit stop because you can't really do that in this game. It looks like Tiger's dropped off the back of ND. It looks like he made a mistake on lap 10 with a 2:19. But those soft tyres really are starting to wear out on that Mercedes. Looks like Tuesday's been able to manage them better, although both drivers have been involved in a spin. All-Star almost pushing Play Dutchie through the final sector. Now as they make their way through the double right-hand of turn 14, I didn't even see that guy join the lobby. Hello, welcome, and also goodbye. Apologies on your departure, but it's time to go, as some famous Arsenal fan once said. Looks like Bon Evil's mediums are starting to gain a little bit of advantage on PRO stock compound tyres, as they have almost gone completely off the cliff. Meanwhile, Tim closing in on the back of a couple of these drivers. It looks like there might have been a mistake from FTR. All-Star going in towards the bus stop because he's lost about 2 seconds to the back of Play Dutchie, but he's also had to serve a 5/10 time penalty down that back straight. So not only has he lost about a second, he's also lost a little bit more. It looked like he went a little bit too late on the brakes as they made their way into the bus stop chicane. Your championship leader, Toussaint 0208, the GT Sport champion from season 1, currently down in 8th place after a collision at the bus stop chicane and an incident at turn number 8. Tiger Assassin later on had his spin on the same lap as Toussaint had his collision at the bus stop. Toussaint had his on entry, Tiger had it on exit, and and then saw his teammate spin at the exit of turn 8. Toussaint went ice bad, his engineer went copy that, and then Tiger Assassin on the exit of No Name did copy that and got a little bit of front bumper and suspension damage on the back of that. But look how close the front 3 are. The top 4 minus Finn, who's only got a 10-second lead. That gap has come down, and he is on the soft compound tyres, so it looks like the softs are starting to die. Now, if I was Finn, I would pit this lap. Please, Finn, pit this lap, even if you're not watching the stream live, because 2 of your teammates, they've gone 1 lap too many, and have got punctures. Once in Trail Mountain, once in Lago Maggiore. No, once in Spain, once in Lago Maggiore, sorry. But look at this. 1 second separating Tim, separating Piero, and another second separating Piero and Bonino. The second to 4th place, separated by about 2.5 seconds. We've got a battle for 2nd place on our hands, and I reckon it could be a battle for the lead if Finn decides to come into the pits, and indeed he does. He listens to my wise words of wisdom and pulls into the pit lane. What do the drivers behind do? Is Piero? Oh, Piero should be into the pits this lap. His rear left tyre is practically dead. Tim stays out for another lap. Is he going to go into a set of medium compound tyres? Or are they going to do an aggressive 3-stop? Now, I honestly have no idea what the strategy could be, because we had the rain effect at the start of the race. So who knows what these drivers are being forced to do now. Is it going to be a soft? Is it going to be a soft, medium, soft? Is it going to be a soft, hard? Hard could go to the end of the race, and I believe there is enough fuel to do it. I think these cars have 16 laps of fuel or 15 laps of fuel, and Bon Evil, well, with 10 laps to go, you do the math. But Bon Evil is now promoted into the lead of the race, having... Well, look at this for Finn. He's got out of the pit lane just ahead of Cameron Caboon. Is the Brit going to fight this one on his worn set of medium tyres, or is he going to use Finn on the fresh set of soft tyres? He is just going to bump draft the German. Give him a little bit of a boost down the back straight. Hopefully not ploughing to the back of him. I thought he was there for a second. A little bit of a kind of a lag delay. Almost looked like Cameron Caboon broke about 10 metres too late, but did slow it down in time. Cameron Caboon wasn't a name I was saying a lot at the start of the race. Might have been involved in a few collisions, but we'll have a look at the race replay after the race. I won't do it live, obviously, because you don't see the FIA doing that. We could have VAR. Should we make these streams really controversial after the race? I'm going to sit through it on stream live, and then we can go through VAR and kind of watch all the incidents live, and we can have, you know, fan and pit. No, we're not going to do that, because that would just cause drama. But we do have drama in the battle for 9th place. Piero getting out ahead of Tiger Assassin, but look at Tiger Assassin's rear left tyre. Look at the understeer he is receiving from the Mercedes. He's got absolutely no life left in the tyres. He's done about 10 laps on those soft tyres, so maybe the strategy is a soft. They could potentially stretch these tyres out to the end of the race. Piero's gone for a set of mediums. He's playing it safe. Finn's gone to a set of the soft compound tyres once again. Toussaint still on those sets of softs. Tim's into the pits as Bon Evil stays out and maintains the lead of the race. Obviously, Bon Evil's gone onto a set of the medium tyres after the rain. Darcy went onto a set of the mediums as well. I guess the medium tyres is kind of a safe bet, because for those who went onto the soft, you can see what kind of lap times they were doing, understand how long they were spending on that tyre. And well, if you went into the soft tyres and they only done 5 laps, then you'd be kind of, you know, you almost shoot yourself in the foot by forcing yourself onto a set of the mediums or the hards if tyre wear's heavier than you expect. Obviously, with the new tyre wear update, it wouldn't be like this. The tyre wear would have been a lot worse, so maybe it might have been a medium or a soft. Now, the intention with this circuit and the strategy was to kind of see if anyone would try the one stop, because the 24-hour layout, the pit lane is a lot longer. It's almost a minute to get the car in and out. But with the rain at the start, that kind of nullified that equation. But now also with the reduced tyre wear, I mean, the polyphony, what they've done here is not only have they ruined my intended strategy, But they've also bugged out the circuit where I thought the strategy would have happened. We were still racing at Spa, but it's a different pit lane to the one I was hoping for. But the pit lane doesn't matter. We're racing at Spa. All 19 corners are still the same. All 7 kilometres of track are still exactly the same. One's just titled the 24-hour layout with a different pit lane entrance. Now, I wonder if we'll see the medium liners off of the mediums this lap. We're going to see All-Star in this lap, because he's got no fuel left in the car. Bonneville might be in this or next lap, but they've seen that the softs can go 9-ish laps. Maybe these guys will finish the final 9 laps on a set of the Red Stripe soft compound tyres. And well, it's been a strategy that I've mentioned in previous streams before, with the strategy call, is when when drivers do too many laps on a certain set of tyre. Hypothetically speaking, let's say we have a 10-lap race. Bonnevil's into the pits, and I think Dutchie's going to stay out, and I think All-Star will pit this lap. No, he stays out for another one. But hypothetically speaking, let's say we have a 10-lap race. If mediums could do 8 laps and softs could do 5, obviously the softs are going to be quicker than the mediums. If you start on the mediums, why would you do 8 laps on the slower medium till they die, to do 2 laps on the softs, where you could do 5 quick laps on the softs and then 5 quick laps on the mediums? I hope that makes sense. It's like saying if you had let's stick with the 10-lap race. If softs could do 8 laps and you had to pit, you wouldn't do 8 laps on a set of softs and then pit for the final 2 laps. You'd go 5 and 5, so you have the maximum life of the tyre. Because the more laps you do on the tyre, the more deg you get. So tyres will start at 100%. And assuming they go down by 10% a lap, on lap number 8, you're going to have 20% of wear, and then a stint at the end where you finish on 80. Whereas if you pitted on lap 5, balanced out the tyres, you have 2 tyres that have the worst tyre deg at only 50%, which is, I think, a lot better than 2 laps with 80 and 8 laps with 20% tyre life. So that is where the strategy differs. Speaking of strategies differing, Piero is ahead of Bonneville, although the tyres have now switched. The roles have been reversed. Bonnie was on the mediums and is now on the softs. Piero was on the softs and is now on the mediums. And also Tim has got ahead of both of them. Has got a 5/10 penalty though. So I still don't know who's where and who's going to win this race. Let me know in the comments, with 8 laps to go, who do you think will win this race? Would it be any of the top 3 currently in the top 3 positions, or would it be an outsider? Would it be Andy? Would it be Cameron Caboon, Tim, Piero, Bonnie, Darren Snyder? We have no safety cars or red flags. Actually, we do have red flags. It's a feature. Oh, hang on a minute. Piero and Bonneville now going side by side through Stavelot. Bonneville gets ahead of the Frenchman on the soft compound tyres. All Stars into the pits as Clay Dutchie stays out for another lap on the mediums. Oh, don't tell me he's going to the end. He's going to ruin it if he goes to the end. He's going to ruin it by winning. If Clay Dutchie can actually make this work, I will genuinely be impressed. Hang on. Let's pause the commentary, because we're going to do some maths. We are going to watch the battle though for 3rd place whilst we do the maths, and I know we don't want to doing maths at 9:30 GMT on a Friday evening, but we are going to do the maths. Where's All-Star come out yet? All-Star's come out just out of Dan Schneider and Toussaint. Does Toussaint need to pit again? No, he doesn't. Let's get back to the maths. So Dutchie could... I think these cars have 15 laps of fuel, and if the rain stopped on what, lap 4? I think Dutchie pit on lap 4. So he has to do 20 laps. So if he saves 5 laps of fuel, if a full tank is 15 laps, half of it's 7, so a quarter's 3. No, Dutchie can't go to the end. He cannot go to the end. But let's look at the lap times. Finn is going a second and a half quicker. So with 7 laps to go, 1.5 times 7 is 10.5. Oh, this is going to be close. If Dutchy's going to the end, saving fuel, doing the lap times he's doing on a set of the medium compound tyres, being on a set of the softs, if he's going to the end as well, they're going to be neck and neck across the line, I think. With the maths that I have done mentally, in my mental head, I think this could be a really close finish, actually. If Dutchy is saving fuel to go to the end. If he's not saving fuel, then I've wasted 40 seconds doing the maths. Let's keep an eye on the Dutchman. Does he pull it into the pits? We ride on board. No, he stays out. Oh, this is going to be... I don't think he's got enough fuel, but this could be close. If Finn can do a... Finn, if you're watching, I'm leaning out the commentary box now, so they go through the first corner. It's hammer time. Push. Get him. You need to do quali lap after quali lap. If Finn can nail 7 quick consecutive laps in the low 16s, high 15s, Dutchy's doing mid to high 17s. That's a 1.2 difference. You do the maths as I've just done. There's 7 laps in the race. 7 times 1.5 is 10.5, I think. And with a 12-second gap, there's only going to be 2 seconds in it, but it's mediums against softs. Those mediums are going to die out. But having said that, those softs are going to die out. I don't think the top 2... Well, I think whoever wins this race, it's going to be one of the top 2. The gap between third and the first is 25 seconds. Tim putting in a purple sector on lap 17. That's a 2-minute 14.6. A purple lap, sorry, not a purple sector. Probably would have done a purple sector though. It had, having set the first lap of the race. Toussaint, your championship leader, is gaining onto the back of Mercedes driver Dan Schneider as they make their way up the hill through Rouge and Radion. He's tucked nicely in the slipstream of the car in front. We ride on board with Dan Schneider. You can see the Mercedes gaining and gaining. The pixels taking up more room on the screen as Toussaint's going to try and go around the outside of Dan Schneider. Nearly contact, but there isn't. Dan Schneider goes over the green bits on the inside of the curve. That slows him down just a little bit, and he concedes the position down to 7th place and down to 8th place. Sorry, Toussaint now up into 7th place. He's got the pole sitter, FGR All-Star, in 6th place in front of him, 2.9 seconds, and well, living up to the curse, the pole sitter has not finished. Well, sorry, the driver who started the race in pole position has not finished on the podium in that race respectively. If we flash back to the first race in the Nürburgring, Bon Evil started on pole position, finished off the podium. Started on the podium again, in Spain, finished off the podium. We then headed to Lago Maggiore, where Costa started on pole position, didn't finish in the top 3. He finished that race in 7th, I think. Last week in Trail Mountain, Tiger started on pole, finished in 4th with an incident at turn 3. FDR All-Star this week started on pole position and he's now currently in 6th place. But it has been a great race from the front 2. Dutchy surely can't do 4 laps with the fuel he's got left. I think for him he probably should have pitted quite a few laps to go, because he doesn't... this is... I don't know who's going to win this one. I think Dutchy still needs to pit. He can't go to the end of the race, surely. Dan Schneider's into the pits. Off of the softs. Now, it looks like he could go to the end. Is he going for the fastest lap attempt? Is he thinking he can get out ahead of Cameron Kaboom? Well, he's not going to get ahead of Cameron Kaboom because he's going through turn 1. And that Mercedes hasn't appeared into his grid slot yet. Tiger Assassin bringing up the rear of the grid. An unfortunate start for him. This could be his worst finish Gavra racing history, but it is a long season ahead. And not only that, but we do have... Oh, this is going to be close. The 2 Mercedes wheel to wheel on the exit of the pit lane. Tiger Assassin gets ahead of Dan Schneider on the exit, but they're going to go wheel to wheel. Oh, there could have been an airborne crash. And Dan Schneider not backed out of that one. Tiger Assassin nearly squeezing him into the wall on the exit of the pit lane, but it was Dan Schneider leaving the pits. Tiger Assassin was ahead. We could have a race on our hands at 10th place. But like I was saying, it's a long season. And not only that, but we've got plenty of life left in this game. We have mini seasons. We have one-off events. We've got everything. There's plenty of time for drivers like Tiger. We know he's quick. He's finished on the podium. He started on pole. He's won races. He's finished second in championships. Yes, he's in 10th place today. But championships, glory, fame, isn't based on one individual race. This has just been one of those races for Tiger where things haven't gone his way. It's not a good day in the office, but there's nothing... I say there's nothing you can do about it. Now that it's been done, there's nothing you can do. But we know the pace that he has, and we will be back. He will be back. I mean, all I've got to do is put Mount Panorama on the calendar. And then he will win. I don't really know where I was going with that. I was going to try to make it sound dramatic, but then kind of had a stroke midway through. But long story short, we know he's quick. This has just been a bad day in the office, and he will come back better, and he will come back stronger. Because I'm telling you now, ladies and gentlemen, if we had a calendar of Mount Panorama consecutive weeks, then he would win that championship without a shadow of a doubt. I think he has a 100% win record at that track, if I'm not mistaken. Although, hello everybody, it's getting a little bit overcast at the top of the hill. Look at this, we make our way up Eau Rouge and Radion with ND. We've got a little bit of cloud coverage. Let's have a look at the gaps out in front. 9 seconds now separating Finn and Play Dutchy. Dutchy will not be going to the end of the race. He'll be into the pits at the end of this lap, so Finn will inherit the lead of the race. Five laps to go in this race. Are we about to have another shadow of another spell of rain? Oh, we've got Born Evil's weather radar. We can't actually choose, we can't filter the weather radar, but there is nothing on the weather radar for 50 miles. The wind speed, 4.5 meters per second, but it's getting very overcast and it's getting very cloudy in the dying phases of this race. A race that started in the rain. Play Dutchy's ran out of fuel. Dutchy's ran out of fuel on the end of lap number 20. He'll be into the pits definitely at the end of this lap. Off for the medium tyres. He'll go into a set of the red soft tyre. Possibly tried going to the aim, but it hasn't quite worked out. FGR Finn will now inherit the lead of the race. Can he be on course to take his first win in Gavra racing history? 10 seconds clear of Attengren behind. Where will Dutchy filter out? His car yet to be serviced in the pit lane as Born Evil closing in on the back of Tim. Piero 4.5 seconds behind. I only just realised I'm now getting back into the commentary style after waffling on about Tiger Assassin and the league itself. But there's no rain. Where's Play Dutchy? Play Dutchy's come out just ahead of Piero, but with the clouds looming large, the wind's changing direction slightly. Play Dutchy's backed off. What's happened to Dutchy? Is he disconnected? This is going to be close. Oh, that's close. He's still driving. He's using the brake himself. He's on the brake. He hasn't put any fuel in. Dutchy hasn't put in any fuel. He ran out of fuel in the pits and he's not refueled. It's a disaster. And look at his fuel light in the bottom left. It's a disaster from the 4-time consecutive GT Sport champion. He pulls over to the side of the circuit, stuck at 50 miles per hour. It's an absolute disaster. And the pit crew have forgotten the fuel. It's the Porsche. It's secretly a Ferrari. What has happened? He's now going to finish this race in last place. Wow. It's another twist in the toe. GT7 at Gavra Racing, ladies and gentlemen. This is the action we provide you. He was on course to finish this race in 4th place at least, pushing with fresh tyres, but he's forgot to put the fuel in. This is incredible stuff. I'm sorry guys, I couldn't hold it in. I couldn't hold it in. But that is hilarious. Someone of that experience has got to put the fuel in. This is so unprofessional. I'm going to get sacked. So as this is probably going to be my last race in the commentary box, then well, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, guys. Going through this journey with you. But look, this is a. Oh, he's left. He's given up. He's retired the car. He could have scored 3 points, but will score 0. Toussaint, he's in 6th place now. Where's this happened? Well, Toussaint got up into 6th place. He's now challenging FGR All-Star for 5th. We're on lap 22 of 24. Bon Evil closing in on the back of Attengrin. With the final few laps left to go, it's been an absolutely incredible race. I told you it'd be a rollercoaster of emotions. It certainly has been. It has been indeed. I have absolutely lost for words, and we could still get another twist in the tail with the potential of rain towards the end of this race. Look at the weather forecast. The wind speed is slowly picking up, and it's getting very overcast late on in the race. I don't know if there's going to be any rain. There is no way of telling. Unless I got myself on the grid, but there is no way of doing that either. I'm gonna save the winning celebrations for the end of the race, because I don't want to commentate a curse Finn anymore. Bon Evil still continues to close in on the back of Tim as Toussaint closes in on the back of FGR All-Star, making his debut tonight after starting the race on. I decided to pull the mic out from my controller. But there we go, sorry, just a slight mic adjustment. I hope that sounds a little bit better if it didn't sound good before. Tim still 1.1 seconds ahead of Bon Evil in the battle for 2nd place. These two have been really close to each other going into this race. Cannot remember for the life of me where they started. Looks like Bon Evil might start to struggle towards the end of this race because of his tyre wear. In comparison to the Mercedes in front, I think Tim pitted the lap after Bon Evil did. Having said that though, Bonnie started on the mediums. Toussaint, so he gets ahead of All-Star. And makes his way up into 5th place. And ahead of the pole sitter, who has kind of struggled in the second half of this race with the dry period. But it's been an incredible comeback drive from the championship leader, proving why he is leading the championship. But after this race, it doesn't look like he could be leading for much longer. Having said that though, Finn's advantage out in front is coming down at a rapid rate of knots. He needs to be careful not to get a puncture, conserve the tyres. Just hang on in there for one more lap and he will be a race winner in GT7. Toussaint looks like he's just got ahead of FGR All-Star and gained a comfortable margin, although it be 0.8 of a second. All-Star will start to gain in down the straight with the slipstream, and keep an eye on the battle for 5th place between these two drivers. The Brits versus the German, and two German manufactured cars, both in the Mercedes AMG, a popular car for this season. Bon Evil gaining on the back of Tim. We could have a last lap showdown. Finn could be close to a puncture here, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be close as the Skyfall covers the circus. Sorry, not the sky. A James Bond film, isn't it? Song, whatever. Finn could get a puncture. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. He's got Tim and Bon Evil closing him down. Anyone else getting vibes of Lightning McQueen, Chick Hicks and the King in the opening scene of Cars. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen that movie, but if you haven't seen that movie, what are you doing and why haven't you seen that movie? Looks like FGR All-Star can't quite keep up with the pace with the Mercedes in front. Toussaint putting out an 1.3 second advantage. Look at that gap out in front. It's only 5 seconds. Finn's tyres are shot, but he's only got 1 lap to go. But he's got 2 drivers gaining on the back of him at a rapid rate of knots. Tiger Assassin's got rear bumper damage, and Dan Schneider's got his way through. I'm not sure what's happened there to him. Finn starts the final lap of the race. He's 4 seconds slow on his last lap. I think he might be having a slow puncture. Yes, that is a kind of a thing in this game. His tyres have gone off the cliff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a last lap showdown, because strap yourselves in. 24 laps out of 24. The headlights have started to turn on. That's how overcast the circuit is getting. Doesn't look like we're going to be hit with an impact of rain, but we could be in with an impact of disappointment for some, excitement for another. It's a showdown separated by 5 seconds. Here comes Tim and Bonneville. Finn with a 4-second lead now. He's lost a second in the opening fight in the last 5 corners of the circuit. Look at the front left. The front left's gone. This is incredible. The race that he's dominated since he pitted for the dry compound tyres. He was the first to pit for dry, and there it is. He's got a puncture. The front left tyre is gone. The front left tyre has gone from the lead of the race. Here comes the chasing pack of Tim and Bonneville. Can Tim make it back-to-back wins in here in Spa, or can Finn pick up his first in GT7 history? We'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be German? Is it be going home to Finland? We'll have to wait and see. It's such a long circuit here at Spa, one of the worst tracks to get a puncture. The gap now 2.7 seconds, 2.5. You can count down the tenths per second, and with about a minute left to go in the circuit, you'd think that Tim might be able to get this lead. Finn with a puncture on the front left and the front right. Here comes Tim in the Mercedes. Bonneville closing in as well. They probably know that Finn's got no tyres. Is it going to be Finn or Tim? Tim or Finn? We'll have to wait and see. There's not long left to go in the lap. Going through Stavelot now for the final time in this race. Turn 15. Who's going to get this one? Lightning McQueen's got 2 punctures to his car like he did in the movie. And here comes the chasing pack. It's the King and Chick Hicks. Which one you label each driver is up to you. But can Finn hang on to the lead of the race? He's lost 5 seconds on the last lap, but he's only got 2 corners to go. The gap 8/10 of a second. Can he negotiate the bus stop chicane? Can he slow it down in time, or can Finn gain the position on the last lap of the race? Which way is it going to go? Is it going to Germany, or is it going to Finland? Up to the line for the final time to race. Finn wins the Belgian Grand Prix. His first win in his career. 3/10 ahead of Tim and Bonneville, who had a double puncture as well. The first time in Gavra racing history that the race winner has finished the race with 2 tyres left on the car. Piero finishes in 4th place, and it's Hossein in 5th. The miraculous comeback drive for him after the 2 spins earlier on in the race. FGR All-Star finishes his debut in 6th place, but continues the pole position curse of not finishing on the podium in the race you started on the front row of the grid. Cameron Caboon finished in 7th place as Andy does a little bit of a burnout across the line in 8th. His best finish, I believe, of the season so far. Dan Schneider finishes in 9th place for the Mercedes team as Tiger Assassin rounds the final corner for the final time and completes the 10 drivers who finish this race. And wow, what a race. What a race. Oh my days. That was incredible. I'm going to join the other party to see if we've got any race interviews, because that was outstanding. Oh, no, don't want to join that party. Definitely do not want to join that party. Let's get into this one. There we go. So, wow, Finn wins his first race of the season. His first GT7 Gavra racing win, and the first drive to win a race with not 1, but 2 punctures. That was an amazing final lap of the race. Absolutely incredible. Tim pushed him all the way to the line, and the podium that I don't think anyone of us expected from the first lap. I don't think any of these drivers qualified in the top 3, to be perfectly honest. I remember the front row being Dan Schneider in 2nd and All-Star in 1st. But after 24 laps of racing, 24 laps of action, changeable conditions from the inters to the slicks, it's been a race that has provided, once again, Spa proving itself worthy of great and amazing overtaking. Hands down, one of the best races I think I have ever commentated on. Action all the way throughout. Yes, not everyone's going to be happy, but that man's going to be happy. It's FGR Racing on the top step of the podium, and it's FGR Finn with the first win of his GT7 Gavra racing career. From 10th place on the grid, and I think that's got to be the lowest or the most positions gained this season to win a race. Well, it started to bucket down like it did at the start of the race, but if anyone wants to do an interview, they are more than welcome to join this party chat. Absolutely outstanding. We'll give it a couple of minutes as I talk you through what we've got up for the next couple of weeks. Next week, unfortunately, is a break week, and I think we all need it after this race here at Spa. But after that, we will be back racing on a Wednesday on the double. The MS4, the fourth mini season that we are presenting for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to sign up for the fourth season of the mini season, please send me a message at X90G on PlayStation or wherever. It is composed of 4 40-minute races in Group 4, Season 4. Might have been something behind that one. But the calendar, to run you through it, we've got Tokyo Expressway, south clockwise, Mount Panorama, Laguna Seca and Brands Hatch as the four hosts for that mini season. So if anyone wants to join, then please message me, and we'll get you on the grid. Sign-ups will close on the day of the race, so that is the 9th of November. You have to sign up. So yeah, you've got plenty of time. But make sure you get signed up. It will be first come, first served. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting any interviews today. No one wants to have a little bit of a chat, so I see how it is. We'll give it a little bit more time just in case. You see, we've still got some party celebrations from Tim and Bon Evil, who actually noticeably pick up some really good points for themselves in the Constructors' Championship. So there's something for them to be happy of. They're currently in... where are they in the Constructor? Well, the Team's Championship. They're currently in 3rd place, but will or could leapfrog up front. We'll have to wait and see. We don't know who's going to be leading. Stay tuned in our Discord for the results. I've been X90G, and well, it's goodbye from me, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you not next week, but the week after. Same time, same place, for the Swiss Grand Prix in Deep Forest Raceway. See you guys next time. Stay safe.